We have a new moon at 9 degrees of Scorpio, and we're going to talk about that moon today and how that lunation on the 1st of November, yes, when the veil is thin, it is Halloween, we're going to bring through the energy of hope and a new dawn. This is a lunation that is part of a sky that involves a beautiful and very fortunate water trine. And involved in the water trine is Mercury on the asteroid Eos, the bringer of dawn, the aurora, the beginning of light. We're going to bring it into the story today as well, a little bit more about Saturn. Saturn is in a trine flow from the sign of Pisces, and he is retrograde. I've already done this video one time already, and it's already out. I really focused on that video most particularly on the asteroid Diana, which is conjunct the moon, and how it is a crossroads time and you can choose your destiny. So if you want to go watch that video, that's great. This is an update video coming out the day before the moon on November the 1st. And it is a video I'm doing because I really want to talk about the water trine that's in the background of this lunation. But it's also very, very important because Mercury's anchoring this water trine. And this water trine, therefore, is connected to the moon. Mercury is co-present in the sign of Scorpio at 28 degrees on the day of the lunation. So we can't discount the role that Mercury might have in this story. I know I've got some weird light. I'm working in my office in the day and I'm dappled with strange light. I can't fix that the way the blinds work here. So just imagine that you don't see strange dots of light on my face. Oh my God, that's so funny. I'm going to spend more time looking at the sky than me anyway today. So let's get rolling. Now, one of my favorite authors and writers is Renn Butler of the Archetypal Universe book. And I just had dinner with Renn, Indian food, the other night. It was so much fun, and met his woman, and we had a great time. He's also a Canadian, and I recommend him highly, this book as well. And he teaches a great archetypal astrology course, which is now closed for this year, I believe. But I'm also in it again, auditing it. So hopefully some of you guys who are watching this video are already in class with me. This book has like a kind of archetypal cookbook, I guess you'd call it, or patchwork quilt of meanings. And when we look at the idea of a moon, right, the moon is new, but it's still the moon. And it is in a flowing relationship to Saturn, which is called a trine. Saturn will be at 12 degrees, the moon will be at 9. And indeed, as the moon moves forward, it will be a flowing relationship to structure and form and bringing things into reality and responsibility. Saturn, that this moon will flow to. And what does Renn Butler say, therefore, in the archetypal universe about contacts between the moon and contacts between Saturn and the moon together? Let's go ahead and delineate that very briefly to get the vibe, right? To get the energy of this and what it might mean. And then I'm going to tell you about moon Saturn as well as Neptune energies, because there is this grand trine coming through. And I want to talk about what Neptune adds to the water trine. But first, let's go moon. Connecting to Saturn. By the way, if you're new to my channel, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Lori Lothian. I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac, whole sign houses, and fixed stars and minor asteroids are my specialty. I put out lots of videos, and all of them include all signs content. I'm also a mundane and political astrologer, and I talk about world events. However, my goal is to help you navigate your life using astrology as a tool for guiding your way forward, or in other words, to time your best life. I'm not here to scare you. I'm just here to tell you which way the winds are blowing. And my How to Time Your Best 2025 all signs videos and or individual video bundles are now available on the pre-sale price until November the 15th. You'll never see that price again. If you want to get those videos up to 2 hours, they are 2 hours. My last one I recorded was 2 hours and 15 minutes long, including a PDF guidebook written by me with my best advice for your sign. Then you might want to grab that. Information is in the description box below. The pre-sale closes November 15th. And the product is delivered to your inbox on November the 17th. All right, moon and Saturn. What does Renn Butler have to say? So when you put the moon and Saturn together, we have an archetype of the moon, the principles of the moon, and the principles of Saturn. So I'm going to read the whole first paragraph for you. Then I'm going to talk about what flowing and positive relationships are like between the moon and Saturn. In general, the principles are emotional maturity and self-control, deeply felt responsibility and integrity, conscientiousness and care, emotional satisfaction through hard work, Saturn, emotions, moon, a gift for focus and sustained introspection, And if it's in a shadow side, which this may not be, it's a part of a grand water trine. I'll show you the picture shortly in the sky. If it's in a shadow element moon Saturn, especially moon conjunct Saturn, moon square, moon opposite, you may have this in your natal chart. You might find yourself with a tendency for cold deficiency, overwork to replace human warm contact, a habitual protection and defensiveness, feelings of isolation and loneliness, self-judgment and repression of one's human needs. Saturn is cold and distant, the farthest planet from the sun, other in the inner solar system, the ones we easily see. So it's far from the warmth of being alive. It's kind of like the sage stoic, wise one hanging out at the boundary of the outer planets. What about a few of his great quotes about this as well? He always has great author quotes by people who have the placement. So here we have one. I have learned that only two things are necessary to keep one's wife happy. First, let her think she's having her way, and second, let her have it. Lyndon Johnson, the Baines Johnson, the guy that was a president of the United States in 68 kind of thing. It's a moon Saturn connection. And who else has moon Saturn? A Longfellow, moon conjunct Saturn. If we could read the secret history of our enemies, we should find in each man's life sorrow and suffering enough to disarm all hostility. I like this quote in a time in our world when we have so much suffering going on due to war. And so I'm going to read the Longfellow moon Saturn quote again, because moon is mother, right? And nurturance and caring and emotional intelligence. And Saturn is hardship and constriction. If we could read the secret history of our enemies, we should find in each man's life sorrow and suffering enough to disarm all hostility. In other words, he's talking about empathy. So those are some moon thoughts. And I'm going to show you the sky because I can't stand to see the strange light on me. We're going to be going through all signs. Because this is a moon update video, not my first one, please watch the other one. It's almost 2 hours long. It's a deep dive into your sign. I spent a lot of time talking about the idea of Diana conjunct the moon, the asteroid of the thresholds, the triple thresholds goddess, where you would go straight, go back, go left to right, like a Y, a fork in your road. She's right in this moon. And at 9 degrees of Scorpio, of course, if you have your sun, moon, or rising anywhere between 6 and 12 degrees of Scorpio, you're in the threshold crossroads moment of your life. Or any planet at those degrees close to 9 Scorpio gets a mesh in how this new moon, new beginning can create a threshold of change for you. But again, I delineate all of that in my first video that came out on October the 24th, and it is on my channel in my playlist. I will put a link to it here in the description box below. So let's go ahead and take a look at this sky, and you'll see what I mean. If you can't see that grand triangle in the sky, then you might not have vision. This is why we're excited by one aspect of the lunation. So here's Saturn, and he is retrograde. My mouse isn't working. Give me a minute. I'll annotate before we do all signs. There's Saturn. He is retrograding. He's moving this way. Here's the new moon. It is moving, the moon is moving this way towards Saturn. And here's Mars at the top of the sky on November 1st. This forms a triangle that has been and here's the triangle that's forming by the anchor to Neptune. And I said I was going to mention some Mars-Neptune principles, and I am. Basically, Mars is the warrior and Neptune is the enlightenment planet. You can go spiritual warrior, or you could unfortunately go holy war, spiritual warrior, noble causes. And, Neptune here is also retrograde. It indicates matters from the past are being addressed by the grand trine in our sky. However, with a trine, something good is always trying to happen. Trines are fortunate energy signatures. And Mercury is the messenger of the gods, but he's also just the news guy. And in Scorpio, he uncovers secrets, things that were hidden from view, things that were like stealthy or secretive can be revealed. In Neptune's retrograde, in a way that dispels the illusion, the fog of misunderstanding, the deception, and the lies that maybe we've been hearing in the media, for example. And Neptune is retrograde to pull back the tide and see what's really under the frothy waves or fog. The fog is receding. Mercury's direct. Let's tell the truth. And then we have Mars up here. Let's cut through the fog. Let's cut through the mist. So all said and done, world stories coming into contact with this moon on November the 1st, and add from the new moon a minimum of 2 weeks to see the unfoldment of stories in the news cycle, information and revelations, including the word whistleblowers, that can change our perception of things that have been going on in the collective, that can include many areas of the collective. In the United States, for example, where this beautiful water Trine falls here, and this part of the heavens, is the United States Republican Party, the party in opposition to the party in power. It is also home and homeland for the United States of America. And also, if we look at other nations as well, Cancer up here at the top of the sky. This is the land of Israel's leadership, parliament, people in power, particularly the leader of the country. At this point, it is Netanyahu. So we're talking about dispelling misinformation, lies, deceit, illusions and delusions regarding matters to do either with the Republican Party and its a bid for the election. And I'm not choosing sides. I don't care which side, Democrat or Republican. Don't troll me for that. I am Canadian. But also Mars at the top of the sky in the house that belongs to Israel's leadership is also a part of what Mercury can whistle blow or tell true stories about as a potential. This is the asteroid I really wanted to talk about. And we see that Mars-Pluto opposition, which I covered in depth in my Asteroid Diana version. That's explosive energy hitting the land, property, and real estate of Israel. And that is Mars on an asteroid about a rampaging centaur. So we have a bit of a intense berserker energy going on, but we're not really going to cover that today. We want to talk about the hope. The hope. Yes, hope springs eternal. This is a moon in which co-present is Mercury. It doesn't have to be conjunct. New moon, 9 Scorpio, Mercury hanging out there. He's in the house with the moon when it happens. He is the guy who can translate the messages of the moon to the world. This little thing that looks like an arrow with a cross is called the Asteroid Eos. I'm going to delineate the meaning of that asteroid for you based on the software. Now, a lot of you know that I use the minor asteroids because I think they are the devil is in the details. Now, you can't make this up. I believe life is synchronicity and messages, and it's a simulation. Yes, I do. And I'm doing the light bearer Eos, which is like Aurora. I'm going to read it to you. And I cannot get rid of the light that's shining through my blinds, that's dappling my face, right? Because I have a ring light in front of me. And then there's this weird, the way the blinds have holes in them because they have to loop the thread, won't let me get rid of the light. So I don't know, guys. What do you think of the light? So long story short, it looks like we're getting a message from the universe about Eos, the light bringer asteroid. Let me read the software delineation to you right now. Ready? It says Mercury conjunct Eos. The Greek goddess and personification, and this is within a 3-degree conjunction. With a minor asteroids like this, 24,000 named asteroids, I use 3-degree maximum range of conjunction. Mercury conjunct Eos, Greek goddess and personification of dawn, who rose each morning from her home at the edge of the waters to deliver light and disperse the night. So it's like the rising light of the morning. It's asteroid 221 if you're digging for it at astro.com. Similar to the Roman aurora, hope for new beginnings, shedding light on something to dispel fears, misplaced anger, and scattering of energy. So all said and done, who doesn't want a little bit of light in a world of darkness that we're experiencing collectively? I know that we're coming into a shift. I know that the world is going to change dramatically. I can see this in my inner dreams, my visions, and my astrology. But birth pangs are here. And this is a time in which we are literally transitioning from different systems of a multipolar world, not a hegemonic world, hegemony, where one country, in this case, USA, seems to want to be the sheriff, military, police of the world. No, we have the BRICS nations. We have other different parts of the world breaking into discrete economic and political systems of power. And that's to be expected because in the history of Pluto moving through Aquarius, we saw regional economies form in the ancient world and new power structures and alliances form. Okay, Pluto power, groups of people, Aquarius, and where we go for the next 20 years is Pluto and Aquarius. So when I did my Pluto and Aquarius videos, and there's like 2 or 3 of them in my playlist called Pluto Playlist on my channel, I talked a lot even 2 years ago about the breaking down of existing power structures for new ones to form as old ones died. And that's indeed what is happening. Now, let's go ahead and delineate your sign. Before I do, remember when you're doing all signs astrology, it's general bell curve astrology. This is not necessarily your reading. It's your general reading for your sign. I know that makes sense, obviously, but a lot of people say, I didn't win the lottery or, I didn't get married or whatever. Well, This is not your chart. Your chart is so unique. It's like your fingerprint almost. It's got your signature in it. You'll need to see a professional astrologer. I'm going to be recommending astrologers on my channel, on my webpage pretty soon. Probably by December, I'll have a list of them. I won't be seeing many clients at all in the new year, although I will be having my Priority Monday slots open, but that's only 8 slots a month and they will fill. I'm sorry, but I am writing books and a couple of things I'm doing. And like I've been 5,000 clients deep up to here in the last 5 years. And it's time for me to do more teaching and writing. So I will only recommend astrologers that I think are talented and I know them personally and I understand their work. Now, in the meantime, your sign, you're listening for your sun sign. That is your soul, is your eternal nature. It's the part of you that's beyond space and time. You can say it's your oversoul or higher self or your core essential nature. Then you incarnate into this world and you end up in a body. And the time of birth, the ascendant, is when you take that first breath. Well, that happens to be the character. Ever see a Leo rising, right? Their hair is big or their mane is big, their beard, like Vance is Leo rising. Look at his beard. Trump is a Leo. Someone tried to tell me Trump must really be a Cancer rising. I say, girl, look at the pompadour, the hair. It's big hair, big facial hair, big hair, Leos. Cancer rises often have moon faces, big round moon faces, right? Saturn, right? Aquarius or Capricorn ruled by Saturn, they're lean, they're skinny like me, like we're the lean ones. Okay, so you can see that your character, your avatar in the simulation is your rising. Your moon is the animating life force of the body. It's the mind-body complex. We call it mind-body. We're talking moon, right? How do you feel and think about your life? What is the, the central thing that is the breath of life itself? Like if you die, something leaves your body, right? Like this poof of life animating force is gone from the body. Prana, chi, animating force with intelligence. I mean, I'm an astral traveler, an out-of-body experiencer. That part of me that's leaving the body is connected to my natal moon. All right. The sun is bigger than the moon. It's yourself throughout every life you've ever had. It's like the one you that's connected to the one universe. All right. Best I can do. But if you're listening for your moon, you're listening for home. It's a nest, it's home, it's and mind body stuff. And the sun, you may be listening for career and purpose matter. Sun often connects us to the reason for incarnation, our purpose or career. And the rising sign is most accurately kind of delineating everything about you. And I find the older I get, the more solar I am, more connected with my core essential nature. And I seem to be living my sun stories more than my rising. That's my best way of explaining to you guys. Let's get rolling. This is a quickie because this is an update video. This is not the first time I've gone through this content. So we are not going to go over it in too much depth. This video from start to finish, maybe no longer than an hour and 15 minutes. There's not much world astrology I want to talk about. I covered it in more depth in my longer video that came out October the 24th, I believe. Here we have November the 1st, 2024. You can see the moon is over here. It's really, 9 degrees of Scorpio. Let's not panic about how many minutes. There's asteroid Lightbringer Eos, and there's Mercury. We're going to start with Aries, and we're going to dance through the sky together and get this thing done. Because I have a client. I'm recording this on my Priority Pass Monday. So I'll have a second client today. So we've got to stay on schedule. If you like this kind of content, don't forget by hitting the like button and subscribing. It does a small thing, a press of your finger on the like button anyway. It is an incredibly useful and helpful tool for helping my channel grow. So if you're ever so kind to hit the like button, I'm trying to reach 100,000 subscribers. And, that fundraiser, that thing about buying my all signs videos, it's because I can buy new microphones, buy new laptops, buy new ring lights, hire time stampers and people, video editor assistants, which I have one. The money I raise from selling the all signs bundle and the individual videos, that content never goes into YouTube. It's private. It's how I raise money to support the stuff I need to keep this channel going on the back end of my business. All right. Aries, sun, moon, and rising. I have a sun and moon. I totally get it. Well, we're talking about the Lightbringer and the big, grand, lucky water trine. We're skipping the harder stories, right? And a water trine, in essence, is asking us to really level up something. I mean, yes, there is a kite here. I know, but we're going to just focus on this water energy. I believe I talk about the kite element of it more in my first video. There's an anchor of flowing water in the sky. And more importantly, it's about a new light and a new dawn. Something new is trying to emerge. The bringer of hope, the bringer of light, Eos, is sitting up here with Mercury. And it's a part of what that moon wants to engage in. It's part of what the moon is thinking about. Now, the moon is also going to therefore say, maybe we can bring some new light a bringer of light, to matters connected to your eighth house, which is literally your house of secrets. So when we put a flashlight in the house of what is hidden from view, we're definitely looking at the opportunity to see something you haven't seen before. It can be about soul work. This is a moksha house. It can be a deep dive into your own psychology and your motives and understanding yourself better. It could be a deep dive into family secrets to mom, dad. Suddenly you could discover, your parent isn't your parent, or some weird secret can be revealed, but it brings light, because secrets not unknown are toxic. Seeing the truth of a secret revealed is the healing of the secret, no matter how painful it is. The eighth house is money you share with your spouse, money you share with any other person. And therefore, this is a light of a new beginning for you, something that you could see a new start or a fresh beginning in how you operate with your finances as it connects to matters of your shared resources with a husband, your financial investments, your tax structures. And it's just to see it in you and bring you light to that financial part of your story. It's the unearned income. It can also include royalty income, investment monies. So this kind of money has a new beginning, it has hope, and it has light in it. What about Saturn? What does that mean? Well, the whole new moon is in a flow to the god of structure, form, and responsibility. And he's trying to make dreams come true back here, but he's in the 12th house. And the 12th house is very soul worky. It's also very enlightenmenty. I don't care if you're not on an enlightenment path. You could have some spiritual illumination, for all the houses of 12, 4, and 8 are moksha, or spiritual awakening homes. Possibly there's going to be an illumination around financial matters connected to also home, property, and real estate, and opportunities that could come that are very fortunate, maybe to buy or sell one. And if it does, it's coming from a karmic place. Something deep within your soul in past lives has enabled this potential to arise at this time. This whole Neptune vibe over here is so dreamy, but it's also very enlightenmenty. So again, spiritual illumination here. But Saturn says structure and form, and what 12th house matters. You may move your home to another country because Mars is in the 4th house. And there could be a moon that says, hey, over the next 6 months, because a full moon can roll out for 6 months, you might make some kind of plan to relocate, whether it's temporary or short term, to put yourself in a solid nest in another far off land. With Neptune, probably involving water bodies, close to water bodies. And last but not least, if you make money online through international revenue, but because you work for a foreign company, or you can get a visa to work in another country, or maybe matters to do with digital income, this is going to give you a nice little 6-month financial glow up in the ways that that income can flow in a dreamy way, but also solid way to you, very solid energy with the Saturn moon trine. Alrighty, so let's go with the next sign, because again, it's short. See that? I will remind you that Mars is your ruler, and he is really plowing through that Cancer zone, coming back again, guys. Come on, January 6th to April 18th, because of retrogradation out of Leo. Some of you are going to travel abroad, go to places you have been before, cut away or change your home, but go back to a home you've had before, home and homeland. Big changes here, big changes of home coming off this moon. But the hope in the finance house can say, and you have the money to pull it off, whether you're going to buy a home, rent a home, sell a home, change your home. And Mercury rules the house of rentals in your chart. So yay, you, big shifts in the home story. And this moon is giving you the financial light and the hope and the dawn to do the changes you need regarding home. Now we're going to go ahead and do Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Hang on. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. So we're going with this idea that we have a luscious water trine, but also Mercury conjunct Eos, and the moon is trining Saturn. These are things I did not cover in my longer video because I was focused on the Mars-Pluto opposition. This water trine is lucky. That's the good news. And it's anchored by Mercury sitting on Eos. I read the description in the beginning, the bringer of light. The asteroid that's like the light of the dawn, that brings us hope that the night is over. We dispel the darkness. So this energy is a dispelling of the difficulties you've had in legal contracts, negotiations, business partnerships, and alliances, marriages, and long-term committed love stories. There's a new light shining here, a new hope, a beacon of something fresh and new. And because Mercury Eos is embedded in a water trine connected to this lunation, the water says luck. Good fortune can happen in your relationship because a change of neighborhood, a move to a new neighborhood or home in a new neighborhood, good luck and an amplification of the strength of a long-term business or love relationship because of travel opportunities in that relationship, karmic and cosmic rewards from Neptune in the 11th, the house of good spirit. There may be also a sense of being supported by friends, allies, and benefactors in a longer term union of some sort. Bottom line, the water trine is in relational houses. These are called kama houses. And so in general, all of your relationships, self to self, self to one-on-one partner, and self to groups of belonging are getting a beautiful light lift over the next 6 months. First, the 2 weeks after the full moon, and in a longer arc of the full moon, right? 6 months. And then we also can say, what about Saturn? Like this guy wants form and structure, and he's with dreamy Neptune. So it's fantastical meets realist, really. Where have you been having a hard time? So first of all, with friends who are mentally ill or alcoholic, Neptune, or maybe you've been having a hard time making some of your dreams and goals and visions real because your long range goals belong to the 11th house. And so these kinds of situations now are being supported in a trine from this moon. You might be making some new, really amazing, long-lasting life friends who are sober and sober-minded, Saturn, over the course of the next 6 months. Also Taurus. The house of career gains is where Saturn sits. And so stabilizing your financial career gains, because he rules your 10th house as well, is very much a story about the new light that dawns. And if you work with clients, audience, marketplace, others or business partners, this is also business partnerships and career gain alliances. You might end up in a new partnership to create a new business, or your existing business, if you work with clients, for example, on the regular, is going to improve your financial gain in the next 6 months. Every moon has a 6-month flow, not just the 2 weeks that follow, but you might see evidence of that in the 2 weeks that follow. I'd say mostly renewal around legal contracts, business contracts, and love partnerships. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, Gemini, it looks to me like you're going to have the energy here of a new light dawning, a new beginning. Some hope is going to emerge, and the new light and the hope is connected to your 6th house, and your 6th house is your house of debts, karmic and real. So if you're under any kind of debt, whether it's financial or to some relationship or person, you feel like, oh, this is a karmic situation. New light, new dawn, new hope. New light, new dawn, new hope for health and health challenges. New light, new dawn, new hope can emerge with Mercury here on co-present with the moon. New beginnings regarding work situations. Now, work and health are here because it's work routines and health routines, but it's like the office, colleague, coworker, and work habit space, and how you do the work you do and how you want to do it in a new way, new beginnings. But also with this, bringing this light here, we're like really bringing you hope and a new dawn, I'm going to call this video a new dawn, I think, a new dawn. And this is similar to the Diana on the moon, the crossroads, the thresholds of something new. So these two stories do dovetail between my two videos. If you want to get a pet and you have a new light emerging in the house of domestic animals, and Mercury rules your 4th house of your private life, for some of you, this is going to emerge as a light of new love with a pet. You'll get a new pet. A lot of people who are Geminis might get a new pet in the 6 months that follow. Don't be surprised, okay? Now, one thing I'd say is that Mercury is in that water trine, and he's talking up here to this Neptune. So the work changes bring a glow in your career and reputation space. And Neptune means fantastical or dreamy, or it's things you've imagined, only imagine coming true. Maybe they're coming true. Neptune up here is fantastic if you have a career in film, videography, music, online social media with videography platforms like YouTube. This is going to be a sweet touch here, a new beginning, a new dawn, and new hope. But maybe just a new light, and a lightness of being, especially around the work, working in a new way, lightheartedly, maybe with less heaviness, less darkness. You may also become very invested in being in the work environment of telling secrets or telling the truth or spilling the stealthy stuff and telling it like it is. I mean, honestly, Mercury trine Neptune isn't just whistleblower. It's also the one who tells the truth about things that have to do. It's not about lies. I heard somebody say it was about lies. lies. No, and Mercury square Neptune, which Donald Trump has, I believe, that's where you don't tell the truth. This is where the truth wants to emerge through the flow of Jupiter, truth and wisdom. All trines are the nature of Jupiter. This is not about lies. This is about truth, but it's telling the truth from things that were hidden or hidden away, or, stealthy, weird, secret stuff. So you can become a very big truth teller in your work or career as well, about things that have been purposefully leading to the world. And then Mercury is also flowing to, of course, Mars in the second house of earnings and work and money and possessions. And this is a self-starter. This is a very feisty Mars in a kind of self-starter business mode. And if you don't have your own business at this point, you just might create your own business out of this energy. All right. So one of the other things I like about this sky is, of course, the trine to Saturn from the moon itself. The moon will come into Saturn next in order of its celestial motion on the day of the moon. And so a trine to Saturn from the moon is like, we would say you're stabilizing something in the career, and you're bringing some longer term dreamy goals, Neptune, Saturn, into form. You may actually have a concretization kind of thing in the 2 weeks that follow the moon of a long cherished hope, goal, or dream. You are in the top of the sky with that Saturn. You're grinding, you're working hard, you're the expert authority, you're masterful, you're tired. So there's a new flow energy here from the moon that says no more exhaustion, maybe some more light, but also maybe a real settling here of some level of authority and success that Saturn does bring when he transits the 10th house. And you're going to see that to be true 2 weeks and up to 6 months after, during the first 2 weeks and 6 months after this moon. Mercury is the Lord of your sky. He does what he can to help you. And he's doing a lot here, Gemini. Now, I'm just going to pause the recording. I'm going to grab a little chocolate. I'll be right back. Now, the next thing I need to tell you guys is all about Cancer, sun, moon, and rising. And well, it's a big deal because you get water trined out. You are like swimming in the swimming pool and your favorite floaty toy, and all is well. So I always jokingly say, the swamps belong to Scorpio, and the swimming pools or the ponds belong to Cancer, and the vast oceans belong to Pisces. And here we have it. You are going to receive a beautiful lunation that trines you, and you like it. It feels good. It feels lucky and fortunate. It flows to you. You're saying, yay, yes, I want this. And the new beginning, the fresh light of something is in the house of fun, joy, play, pleasure, romance, children, and fertility. If you have existing children, this is the light that dawns for them. This is a positive omen for the existing children in your life, especially the firstborn. This is a house of the firstborn, the 5th house. So the light of your children increasing, Eos, a new dawn, a new hope for your child, for your relationship to your children, for your sex and romantic life. If you're single, don't think about it too hard, but you might meet somebody. Fresh starts are here. This is also, of course, a type of energy that Mercury is in, called a water trine, not just a little bit, a grand trine. So it's kind of matching your speed here. You're furiously swimming with Saturn in favor of something good trying to happen. You are like, lap swimming at high speed. Saturn's been moving quick. Mars is moving quickly the last 2 months through your Cancer sky, getting ready to slow down, by the way, because he's going to go into Leo in retrograde, but he'll be back again in the Cancer sky. I've got so many videos for you on this rare transit of Mars through this part of your sky for such a duration, because he's back January 6th to April 18th. But Mars is making you decisive, action-oriented, bold, declarative, grumpy, irritable, or maybe you've burned yourself by now, at least one time on hot water. But that said, he's trying his best to give you his Martian disposition. You're very protective of your home and family here. You're willing to fight for them. You're a mother bear on steroids. And how is your mother bear or father bear trying to protect a child? And that's what I'm seeing for a lot of you. Or is it engaging in fierce connections in romantic love? What about this? This is Neptune, the dreamy outcomes, the visualizations and imaginations, and the house of Dharma, the house of God. Ultimately, this could indicate for some of you a creative project, like a book that gets published. Your dream publisher could come off the 6 months of this. This could look like foreign shores and travel and visas and passports and legal matters having favorable outcomes in the 6 months that follows this new moon. The new moon is about a new beginning, though, in the 5th house of creative art and projects. So your muse is going to get sparked. And with the light bringer Eos, the new dawn and hope, If you've been stuck in your creative muse-driven inspiration, this is it. This is the beginning of you really feeling like you've got this, like you are now sparked up to get the muse to listen to you, especially if you want to publish a podcast or write a book or publish a book where Neptune sits that supports this. The new moon is also connected, of course, to the idea of Saturn and what Saturn wants to stabilize. Saturn wants to bring you lasting, long-term, enduring, stable results in all things ninth house relative to the fifth. That is that opportunity for a publication, like a podcast, like a published book, to take off. It's also about aligning your long-term goals and dreams and your spiritual philosophies with what you want to create entrepreneurially or artistically in this life. And finally, if you are of the age where your children can have children, then this could also indicate in the 6 months that follows, this new beginning, new moon, the bringer of light, new moon in the house of children, a grandchild being born to you or conceived in the 6 months that follow the lunation. And maybe with stealthy Mercury, your kids were keeping it a secret from you, your kid, whichever one it is. All right, so that's all I've got for you. We're moving on. Now we move to Leo. Leo sun, Leo moon, and rising. Welcome to this quickie update video. Go back and watch my original one because it's going into the harder aspects of the Mars opposite Pluto, but talks about the threshold of the Diana aspect to this moon. We want to instead today focus on the bringer of the light, the new dawn arising, new fresh beginnings with a light in the 4th house of home, property, and real estate. Now, that is positive because it can bring light to anyone you cohabitate with. It also means a new beginning and a fresh dawn of hope regarding property, land, home, and real estate buying and selling, especially. And I want to say that now because I see Saturn in the 8th house of bank loans, mortgages, finances, investment monies can indicate a new light regarding financial investments or inheritance monies that may come to you from your family of origin in the 6 months that follows this new moon, and likely from an elder. Saturn represents like the old lady, old man, the grandparent energy. So you may be receiving some inheritances, but it brings a new dawn, a new light to your home. And therefore, a lot of you may be changing your home, buying a home, selling a home, or moving a home over the course of the 6 months after this moon. The grand water trine is lucky, and it shows me that you're going to have some superior fortunes with finances, property, real estate, and 12th house. Foreign land travel, anyone moving to a far off shore, digital income, borderless revenue, money from a far off place are all possible. However, these are also spiritual awakening, moksha, and liberation homes. And some of you may be moving into a new stage of awareness of your spiritual life or your soul's ever presence, getting down with the occult, magic, mystery, studying astrology, tarot, hermetic wisdom, all the 8th house matters. Big changes is what Mars is saying in the 12th house when it comes to matters of home and money. And possibly you could be ending up seeing opportunities in the 6 months that follow for the purchase of a home. Mercury represents things to do with marketing and selling, mercantile and merchandising. And in that regard, if you are looking to buy or sell a home, the 6 months that follows this new moon is really in your favor. The perfect mortgage rate, the perfect property, the best outcomes possible. You may as well grab that new light in the home if it's showing up for you. And maybe where the money comes from, you don't know, because chunky money is not your earnings. You didn't save all up for it necessarily. It could come sideways through other means than your daily paycheck. Okay, let's keep going, guys. And we're on to the next sign. And we are moving forward in time into the sign of Virgo. Don't forget to go back and look at my long video that already came out, and that's going to give you a much deeper dive into the Pluto opposition and the crossroads goddess Diana on this moon. But for this video, we're focused on this hopeful new light, bringer of the dawn kind of thing, bringer of the dawn, Eos. And Eos is going to be involved in bringing a new fresh light and a new arising light to your 3rd house of things to do with your travels or your relationships to your aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, nieces, nephews, those people, and a new beginning and a fresh start. But it's also the house of neighbors and neighborhood and the everyday environment in which you swim, the shops, the restaurants, the gyms, the things you go to. And there's a new start, a fresh beginning. And the new moon, therefore, on November 1st promises that over the 6 months that follow, there's a likelihood of some fresh new start regarding neighborhood relationships or even moving to another neighborhood. Energy wise here, this is also about writing projects or any kind of communications projects, especially if you're somebody who's a writer or you work online, and this new moon with Eos and Mercury wants to start something new, a new beginning. To some extent, entrepreneurial businesses can be connected to the third house, and so you might start something fresh there as well. Now, also notice that this new moon, new beginning with asteroid Eos is flowing in this beautiful trine of luck and opportunity. All trines are the nature of Jupiter, let alone a grand trine. And this is going to open up opportunity and luck and flow and ease and grace and goodness when it comes to your marriage relationship or your business partners. Now, some of you will say, what do you mean by marriage? I mean, like, are you living together? Are you cohabitating? Are you long-term committed monogamous? That's like a marriage, right? Common law. So that kind of relationship is going to receive a blessing from the light that is arising in the third house from this moon with this Eos Mercury story. And it flows over here to matters of those important connections to you, especially those lovers, long-term committed love stories, or any business partnerships. Or if you're somebody, let's say, who's creating online content, third house, this is the audience marketplace as well from the 10th. So you might end up getting some kind of nice little glow up in your online success stories as you get greater beautiful reach into an audience or marketplace. The trine over here to Mars as well, as part of the grand trine, is indicating some changes that want to happen in your 11th house. You might be shifting your social groups, your networks, and your friends, but it's going to bless you by doing so. There may be a major kind of letting go, cutting or snipping of certain friendships. And sometimes they happen because someone's moving away. They may be going somewhere far away, but Mars cuts and snips and severs some social networks and friendship groups from your life in order to bless you. You got to cut the gangrene limb off, in order for the whole body to survive. So there's something good happening in endings are cutting off from social groups of belonging or matters to do with friendship circles. Technically, though, I also want to note that the moon itself is flowing to Saturn. On the day of the moon will trine Saturn, the first aspect it makes. So you're really stabilizing a long-term relationship. It's not just getting a glow up. But if you're in any kind of committed long-term love relationship, it's the element of increase, the element of solidity. And maybe because you're traveling with that person and that could help stabilize it, or you're going to be, because third house is travel, or, there's a new neighborhood that gives a renewal to the relationship. All kinds of things are possible here. But whatever it is, I think that the best news for you is that the relational houses are giving your friends and many groups of belonging, your one-on-one relationship, and your relationship to your very own self, all three types of relating, are getting a juicy glow up in the wake of this dawn of a new light type of lunation. So if you want to find out more about the opposition between Mars and Pluto, then please go watch the other video that I've already put out, and the fact that you're at a triple thresholds crossroads choice point. Sometimes people say, did this moon happen already? Because you hear my video and go, I think it already happened. Sure. There's a pre-echo of the lunation where themes are already emergent, but the fulfillment is going to be showing up all the way through the 6 months that follow the November 1st, 9-degree Scorpio moon. If you're a Cancer sun, moon, and rising near 9 degrees, 6 to 12, of course, you're going to feel this a lot more, but all of you Virgos feel it. It flows to you. It is an auspicious and flowing event. Now we're moving into the Libra sun, moon, and rising, and we're going to talk to you guys about a fresh start, a new beginning in the house of earnings, money, resources, and finances. This is the second house. With the light bearer Eos here bringing a new dawn, a new beginning, it can literally mean with Mars in the 10th, a new job and career path that may emerge in the 6 months from this moon that's very fortunate for you. A change of status within your career, like you get a raise or promotion, or you quit, or your job quits you. Don't worry if that happens. The energy says something better is coming through the sky for you, because Eos is a new light and a new dawn and a dispeller of what is dark, the night, in the house of the earnings, money, and work. So the other part of the trine that Eos is getting into with Mercury, of course, is the Neptune trine to your 6th house. You want dreamy, perfect work circumstances? The universe is going to try to deliver it. Neptune is that your imagination, your visualizations, your trance states, what you wish to visualize into being in your career and work stories. And Neptune trining Mars allows for changes in your vision of what you want, or changes in your career itself that allow the vision to become true. Saturn is realistic and Neptune's fantastical, but the real and the fantastical are merging together and trying to help you bring some solid, real gains to your career that are also in alignment with your long range visions and goals. And ultimately, a new moon here flowing to Saturn is also really good for financial structure and, a new way of working that brings more solid gains to your life and career, or some big change stories regarding your dietary style. Often, stuff in this second house is what we ingest, and Saturn is in the house of sickness. Some of you may really change or turn around a health challenge with a dietary shift in the 6 months that follows this lunation. And to continue our quickie, if you haven't seen my longer video yet, please go watch it. That video goes into a much longer dive into the thresholds new moon energy with Diana and the moon, the opposition of Mars to Pluto. And that video came out October 24th. Go watch that too. I'll put a link in the description box. All right, Scorpios, hey, every year you get a new moon, but this is not any old new moon in the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising, here you go. Of course, is your sun, your moon, or your rising near 9 degrees. Let's go 3 to 12. It's definitely very, very important for you. It's really, really connecting for you. And the new beginning, the fresh start is you. You are starting fresh. It's your sun, your career could start fresh. If you're Scorpio moon, a new home for you. If it's a Scorpio rising, everything about you could start fresh, particularly 6 to 12 degrees Scorpios, but all of you feel it. It rolls through the whole sign. Mercury is with the asteroid Eos for a new dawn, a new beginning, a new light, a new, bringer of the light into the early morning that dispels the night. So there's a new beginning in something that may have been for you feeling dark, right? Like a darkness in your career, darkness in your home life, or just a darkness in your own sense of being, maybe melancholic, maybe having a hard time about something. And then all of a sudden, whoa, look at this new light is here. One thing I haven't mentioned is that you really have had, Mars died in the heart of the sun in November 17th in your sign. And you've been going through a desire, or the universe has been going through a desire to reform you completely, to have you die to one way of being and be born again to a new. One way this could happen is you could become a grandparent or a parent off of this water trine. In houses 1, 5, and 9, other than meaning get thee to a purpose and get an alignment with your dharma and find out your true calling, all very possible, especially with Chiron here in your house of work, wounded work. You also could be having a child or grandchild emerging as a result of what we see as a trine in the house of fertility and grandchildren. One other matter here is if you want to go off to foreign land, travel, win in a court case, maybe get a visa, passport, all these things can become flowing, easier, opportune. Things are going in your direction as a result of the new moon, as the beginning of something new. And I was joking, my son had a passport problem. He's been wrangling with the bureaucracy to get it replaced. And literally this could just be, oh yes, the light of a new dawn, the passport arrives in the mail in the 6 months that follows this moon, or the 2 weeks that follow as well. Saturn is making you work hard to have fun. It's not easy here. Even your sex life might feel dutiful and rote, but nonetheless, Saturn is saying, I've got a solid desire to help you attain results for the long game in creative and entrepreneurial activities, artistic, creative, and entrepreneurial activities. Get a nice glow up from this new beginning, new light, new dawn moon. So all of you have been laboring under Saturnian hardship in that kind of, creative endeavors. This is going to start to lighten up a lot and feel much nicer. And I don't even know what to say, but with the bringer of the light opposite Uranus in the house of your audience, you could definitely go sparking into a bit of a viral hit in something you're doing as an artist or creative or entrepreneur in the 6 months that follows this, because we're baking in the story here, right? Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. The sky says you've got a new beginning with the bringer of the light Eos, a new dawn of a new day in your 12th house. 12th house matters can be foreign revenue, foreign shores and foreign lands, foreign travel, foreigners. It can be to do with your psychology, your addictions, your self-undoing, and a new beginning and getting rid of them. And a new light is dawning in the house of hospitals, insane asylums, and prisons. If you're in prison, you might get out. It's a new light here, a new beginning. It's also your enlightenment house, the full Monty, a new light in the enlightenment story. this energy flows, of course, in a beautiful trine to Mars moving through your 8th house. Nothing wrong with that. That could be great financial shifts in your life that are positive, especially with the trine to Neptune in the 4th. Dreamy outcomes regarding the sale of a home, the buying of a home, the moving of a home, the inheritance of a home, money from inheritances from the family of origin, especially from elders. These are the kinds of stories that happen in the 6 months that follow even this moon based on the sky. I think that Saturn wants you to find you less nostalgic, melancholic, and depressed and lonely in the home, or maybe you got grandpa or grandma living with you or elder parent. This may not be easy. Saturn is trying to lighten it up here with Eos and Mercury so that it's not so hard and not so difficult. And ultimately, you know, with Saturn and Neptune moving across into your 5th house, some of you may change your home in the next couple of years, literally because you need to be less isolated or less alone. And you need to move to a place that brings you joy, fun, and pleasure. So you've been dealing with a lot of heaviness since March of 2023. If you've changed your home, it may have felt like more of a burden than a joy. And the moon as well, finally, is not too shabby if you want to make a radical change or a shocking change regarding career and pet matters. All right. So pets can change and career matters can change. More like job and work matters can radically and suddenly change. That's that Uranus opposite Mercury. And it's not about one day's event. It's baking into this moon a longer story. All right, Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. I know we're going fast. It's a quickie update. You're going to see this moon as a new beginning with a light bringing dawn, something fresh and new is coming into your world in the 11th house of good spirit. The 11th house is always a positive place. Almost nothing bad really does happen here. It's social groups, friendships, and social networks. Big brother, big sister, new beginnings and fresh starts, and bringing a light where there has been a time of darkness. Maybe you're isolated from friends. Maybe you've lost some friends. Maybe friends have passed or moved away, and you don't have a social group. And now there's a new beginning and a fresh start with those themes. And also great new starts and blessings with a sibling one older than you as well, and even two older than you. So the sibling 1 and 2 above you, if you have those in age, are also going to bring new beginnings and blessings to you. And that's because Mercury rules the 9th and he's in the house of the 11th. So those two siblings, 1 and 2 older, bring beautiful new light into your world in the 6 months can follow this moon. Mercury is flowing to Saturn, to Neptune, and he's flowing to Mars. Unfortunately, Mars likes to cut, snip, and sever, and he can cut, snip, and sever a marriage or a long-term committed love story for your highest good, and cutting through the fog of Neptune, the illusions and delusions you've had about it. It doesn't have to be marriage. It could be long-term committed love of any kind. So there could be some snipping here, but it all looks like it's going to benefit you anyway. If you're single, don't worry about it, but don't necessarily start something new under this. And with Neptune in your 3rd house, it's like, what dreamy visions and goals do you have, and imaginations and imaginings do you have about neighbors, neighborhoods, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins? Do you want to get more in touch with them? Do you want to communicate and have social time with them? Mercury's social, and the time is house of social groups of belonging. Possibly some of you may want to move your neighborhood. Mars likes to move things around, but that's something you're doing because of a relationship, right? You're not doing it on your own. Maybe because a relationship's ending, you need to move, or because a new relationship is pushing you into a new home. I'm not sure. Saturn wants to stabilize anything to do with the neighbors, neighborhood, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, writing projects. Possibly you could have a great uplift in your career gains through creative writing projects, online social media world, and how you boldly force your product into the marketplace. Mars in the bold Mars in the 7th house. But, Saturn is also 3rd house matters, and it does involve your social media, online world, publications, media, writing stories. And so maybe some of you are really getting some kind of new light shining from Mercury, the messenger, and the house of good spirit into those kinds of projects. Ultimately, Mercury can bring you greater career gains, but what is a career in your life at this point? The South Node has yet to leave your 10th house. You had to let go of what you thought your career was for the last year and a half, not start something new. You'll have to wait till January when the South Node leaves your 10th house for you to begin to start a full-on brand new career that will last. It will be the right career for you. Otherwise, you're going to have false starts. Okay. And that's just one story, but there's many in the sky. And you may have a bit of a disturbing shockwave in your life, or a surprise regarding children that comes off this new moon. It could be surprise. You're going to be a parent. That's possible. So, I mean, a grandparent or a parent, you and your lover find out you're pregnant. You and your child tells you they're pregnant. That kind of thing, or maybe a disruption in a romantic or long-term love relationship that seems to come out of the blue and surprise everybody. And again, that doesn't happen the day of the moon. It can happen in the 6 months that follow. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. I am a rising, just like you, but sun and moon will count you as well. So, a fresh start with a new light, a bright beginning where darkness was in the 10th house of career and reputation. Where has it felt like it's been the night? Maybe you've been like it's been dark up here, or it just feels like you need a fresh start, a new beginning, a fresh dawn, a new light. I can relate. And so, also, it's kind of the vibration of Mercury, right? So it's all about the ideas, the mind. Maybe you'll have a new idea or communications through email or phone calls that allows you to start fresh, start a new beginning, bear a new light into your career. The flowing trine energy can never go wrong in terms of fortunate energies. It's all about the nature of Jupiter, these trines. So Mercury is talking to Neptune. And what is your dream for earning money? What is your highest vision? What is your most celestial, spiritual way of understanding making financial resources work for your survival and your basic needs? That's the second house. But Neptune also makes you money doing Neptunian things: filmography, video, music, YouTube, videography platforms, screenplay writing, storytelling. And maybe a new dawn is shining in the career house because you're going to move more of your career gains and money-making stories in the direction of Neptunian themes. We got Neptune here till February 26th before he fully leaves. Saturn is contacting the moon, and the moon will actually move into that trine to Saturn on the day of the moon, November 1st, and into November 2nd. So honestly, it's like, where are you trying to come into a realistic, serious, sage-like, sober-minded approach to the money career narrative? Because with Mars in the house of his joy in your work house, trining all of this water trine, you might be burning out. You might be getting a little bit underwater. Drowning in the work is classic when Mars is in water, and he's here for a long time. Thank God he leaves November 4th to January 6th, but then he's back January 6th to April 18th retrograding, and then going direct. Have you learned your lesson? Because this last 6 weeks or to 8 weeks for a lot of us Aquariuses, we have been burning the midnight oil in our work and working way too hard. Some of us quit jobs. Say if you're in a work colleague, coworker space, you might want to quit. Another way this could work is if you're employed, this moon may suggest somebody quitting in the workplace, and that could escalate your rise to greater light and power and money. So for employed people, not self-employed, that's a nice blessing that can come off of this moon. Someone quits, someone gets fired, you get to move on up into the higher levels of salary or work and maybe apply for their spot or just be moved up, And anything maybe to do with pets could surprise you or home. There's a bit of a Mercury lights the sky up opposite Uranus in the 4th house, Mars in the 6th, a surprise around a pet, a surprising change of home, especially if it's a rental property, a surprising opportunity to buy a home. Mercury rules your 8th house. These are things that the moon can give you in the 6 months that follows this particular incredibly enchanted trine. And this to me is going to be one of the better moons of the year, right? New dawn, thresholds goddess Diana, all saying something good is trying to happen here. Righty, I don't think I have anything else to say to us. And I certainly would say around November 1st, phone calls, text messages, emails, major changes could come through those connected to career matters. That's for sure. If you have any debt you wish to pay off, like a credit card or mortgage or something, Mars is in the debt house, and there could be a dreamy opportunity for solid financial gain that lets you slam down a debt in the 6 months that follows the moon. Yay. I hope I said new moon through this whole thing. I'm like, I've been working too hard. It is a new moon. All right. New moon is happening here. For you Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. And the new moon is going to occur as a fresh dawn is, a new dawn is happening. The Eos asteroid with Mercury. Please listen to the beginning of the video for details and the longer video for this series as well that's already out. This is a quickie update. So Mercury is trining Neptune, and Mercury is trining Mars. These are Dharma houses. A lot of Pisces might have to move more into an alignment with their truer purpose. You may have to cut out of a love relationship, but in a positive way, disconnect from a sibling. I mean, a child relationship in a positive way. Maybe a child will be moving out of the home, for example. Things to do with the ninth house are highly auspiciously awakened with a new beginning. New beginnings with your spiritual philosophy, with your book publications, with your court and legal matters freshly starting. After the dark comes a new light. Things to do with higher education, college and universities. A new light is dawning in a positive way for you, as well as foreign land travel. You may come into a new romance in this. You could, if it's a romance connected to foreign shores and foreign travel, and it will be very emotionally sensitive, but also very sexually active. Mars in the house of romance. Your competitive spirit is increasing. You've got gains that are very luscious, that could be quite lucky financially from a sibling two older than you. So a sibling two above you could be very auspiciously blessing you in lucky money stories. You might also notice there's a disruption that could happen here regarding home, property, land, and real estate matters. If your neighborhood stories are unstable, you might want to change your neighborhood. That's the Uranus 11th, third house opposite Mercury, or some difficult information or news coming about things in the neighborhood and you're not too fond of. Like, oh my God, I'm on a super fun site, or oh my God, they're going to tear down the whole building next to me and it's going to be a noise zone for a year. You might just want to note that neighborhood things could be also coming off of this that you didn't expect, and it could be a little destabilizing regarding neighborhood stories. Now, I want to mention the fact the moon itself trines Saturn. I mean, the separate from the grand trine, it's just a simple trine between the moon moving off the new moon phase on the first and right away flowing to Saturn. Because you are Saturn, you are lately either lonely, alone, getting skinnier, losing weight, becoming lean, but you're also serious, sober-minded, realistic, sage-like, and no nonsense. You've got a backbone and you're looking for self-responsibility to respond ability in your life. And you're taking that on now. And with this as Saturn retrograde, issues in your past where you haven't been able to be responsible for yourself or your life, or in a way that you feel like you've got a backbone here, or you can form the structures through discipline. Those things are coming back to you now. You're going to find that there's a new light dawning and a new energy around discipline and focus and structure. But because a lot of stuff is coming from the ninth house, there are ninth house people, your third marriage partnership. Ninth house people can be your second house, second marriage, first house, first marriage. And you could come into contact with spiritual advisors that really help enliven you, including therapists or counselors or guides or mentors, and bring you into a new sense of what is possible when you are the full author of your life, the authority of your life. I kind of wonder too, if some of you might have some information here about getting accepted at college or university in the 6 months that follows, or wanting to go off and study and enroll in a college or university. That can happen if anyone's interested in that as a Pisces, and especially with Uranus in another educational house. Finally, unexpected travel opportunities for pleasure, leisure, and fun may also connect you to sibling one older and two older. And so travel opportunities flowing off of this lucky, auspicious trine energy that really ground you and help you feel really more connected to those siblings. And that, again, is something that could occur in the next 2 weeks to 6 months after the new moon in Scorpio in your ninth house of God. And if you have to win in a court case with a judge and Mars is the god of lawsuits, for example, things look like they flow with a new light, a new beginning, and stabilized results regarding legal matters that involve judges and courts working in your behalf over the course of the next 6 months after the new moon. Now, thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. That does help the channel grow. When the channel grows, I grow, you grow, we grow together. And don't forget to get to 2025 Time Your Best Life video series or your individual video. It's in the description box below. Thank you, guys. I know this was a quickie, but as I am recording the 25 content, I'm teaching my Sky Reader class, and I am like, whoa, I'm doing Mars in my sixth house of work. It is a lot of work. Have a wonderful new moon in Scorpio.